Okay guys, welcome back. So today we're going to be working on this Dodge. It's a Durango. I'm going to show you the easiest way to find out your VIN. There's normally a plate right here. It has the VIN, it has everything on it that you'll need. Right here, the manufacture date is a 2003 of August of 8th, August of 2003. So 2003, if it is a 2000, if it said 10, it'd probably be a 2004. Most likely 2003 though. Obviously I got out here and the battery was dead. So we're going to go ahead and hook up some jumpers, a battery charger to it, because that's the first thing that we're going to be doing. This is just a Harbor Freight one. Turn it on. It's going to go and find the battery. It's going to auto select 12 volts. We're going to select which function we want, and I want 12 volts 10 amp, and then we click start, and it's going to start charging the battery. It's going to recondition it first, which is great, but we're going to be doing a once over on this. It's going to be used as a work truck, so obviously once we get into the battery being charged and determining whether it's a bad battery or not, we're going to go ahead and check it over. Just on quick glance, I'm seeing valve cover leaks. It's pretty simple to fix on both sides, nothing crazy. Belt looks decent, but this is just the engine bay, so really all I'm seeing in here is just some heavy valve cover leaks. Really, for an older vehicle, not horrible. Simple things we're going to be looking at is going to be some more suspension, because it's going to be a work truck. We'll be looking at brakes, suspension, drivetrain, excuse me, and the power steering, as well as transmission. But we'll see what the customer wants to do. I'll give them a workup on, you know, what should be repaired. Obviously, I personally think the valve cover should be taken care of, but with how old it is, it's not a necessity. You just got to make sure you keep your oil levels up. As long as they're good, they're good. I am seeing some patch jobs on the coolant system, or the power steering system, I should say. No, it's a coolant system. So, which is kind of weird. Don't normally see patch jobs like that, but you know, you got to do it with what you got to do. On these older vehicles, sometimes you got to get fancy with it. Just to do a quick walk around on this thing. I mean, the tires look good. They're not off-road tires. They're definitely kind of interesting to see on it. But yeah, it's not a bad vehicle. I am seeing a little bit of black on the tip of the exhaust, showing me that there's going to be some carbon buildup. So we're going to need to probably do a nice little tune-up on it. Rear shock bolt on this side I can see is already loose and starting to come out, so that'll need to be taken care of. Rear shocks, leaf springs look okay. You know, axle looks okay. I'm not seeing any sweating or leaking around that. So that looks good. I mean, honestly, back here, it might just be brakes and rear shocks. Yeah. Sway bar links, if they really want to do them, I'd recommend it, just because then you'll get better traction and better control in the rear end, especially if they're going to be towing. Let's take another quick glance at the front end. Just on quick glance up in here, I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'm hoping you can. Both these bushings are shot. As I come underneath here, I am seeing that the valve covers are leaking all the way down the side of the block. So highly recommend probably replacing the valve cover gaskets. If we come underneath here, the shock's completely blown out on this side, ball joints ripped on that side, so upper and lower ball joints. Honestly, what I'd probably do with this particular model is potentially just replace the upper control arm. When it comes to the lower control arm, it's really hard to decide if I'd want to replace it or press that ball joint out, only so to the fact that it has a big torsion bar that goes all the way back to the rear frame, basically making this thing easy to have fun with. Actually, it has to be good up and running. Looks like there's a little bit of leaks. I can't obviously tell if those are coming from the oil pan or not, but honestly, transmission pan looks pretty good for what it is. So on this side, definitely ball joints, strut or shock, upper control arm, which should have the ball joint already pressed in it. We'll check out the brakes when we get it in the driveway after we get it charged. Let's jump over to the other side really fast and see how bad the suspension is on this side. Same thing. This bushing is almost completely gone, as you can see right here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is almost completely gone. Major leaks on this side of the engine block, also most likely coming from the valve cover. Underneath here, this shock's not blown out. However, if we're going to replace one shock, let's replace both. This ball joint is completely blown out at the top, And yeah, oil pan leaks. Front axle looks good. Can't really see the tie rod from here, but let's go ahead and look in from this side. The tie rod boot's cracked, so probably recommend doing in or out of tie rods. Have not drove this thing yet. Looks like we got a little bit of a transmission leak right here on the transmission line, and all the way up there. So you can see right up here, there's a transmission leak up there. So I mean, nothing too crazy. Really, it just needs a good spray down so we can determine exactly if the valve covers is what the main leak is. You can also have some leaks coming from the crank position sensor, the oil pressure sensor. I mean, there's certain things. It just depends on what the customer wants to do, how many miles are on it, what's the value of it, and what they want to put into it. Really, suspension, I think, is what we're going to be focusing on, just because of the fact that this is going to be for drivability. And we want to make sure that's good. Yeah, that boot right there is really cracked out. You can see that that's the whole boot. It's cracked out. So yeah, lower ball joints. Ideally, if I can replace this lower control arm, that's going to be the best. But really what it comes down to is this going to be seated in or not? These are technically free floating as a hex. So when you take the control arm off, that drops down and this should slide out. That's on a saying everyday work. I do want to make one note on the Durango of this year, though. The front suspension is built very nicely. There's no coils, there's no leaf springs, but if you look at this bar right here, oh, that's another thing. It will need sway bar bushings. Sway bar bushing here, sway bar bushing right in here. That side and that side, you can see actually the gap all the way through on that one. But that's one thing I love about these Durangos is the sway bars on the front end are beefy. These guys are meant to have a lot of control in the front end while having quite a bit of towability and be weighed down. They're built to be functional. So it's really cool to see that, you know, that's what it used to be like. Now we get these little sway bars and little sway bar links, and it's not as fun. But yeah, and all in all, after I get everything done with this, they are going to need to get an alignment on it. But we should be good. We'll look at the ball joints and everything else a little bit more as we come in, but I'll charge it up and keep you guys posted. Go ahead and just make a quick note. We started this up as we got to this vehicle. It was at 7.6 volts. We are now at 13.6 volts at 10 amps charging in literally about 10 minutes. Tells me that there's a good possibility this is going to need a battery. Ideally at 10 amps, it should probably be more around the 10.5 volts, to be honest. So it's charging quite quickly. Now we're dropping to 13.3. So it's going up and down. But, oh wait, maybe that's the voltage current. So the current's okay, we're currently at 9.6 amps. The status is charging. So we're in a good spot. It's working. We just got to wait for it to finish its charge. But thanks for sticking around, guys. I'll keep you posted on what we actually do with this truck. And, you know, you'll come along on the ride. And hopefully I can teach you guys a few things about what we do and how we do it correctly and the best way to get things accomplished. Thanks for sticking around. Have a good one.